Hey guys, I'm Emily Powers, and today I'm going to show you how to paint this squirrel in the snow, and it is going to be in acrylics, and I'm going to show you step by step how to do it so that you won't miss anything. This is the picture I got off of Pixabay, I think. It was a royalty-free website, and so you can. It was either Pixabay or Pixlr. I kind of get confused between those two because I have images saved on both of them, but it's one of those two. So if you go to one of those, type in squirrel, you can probably find it. This is a 9 by 12 inch Phoenix canvas. Excuse me. I'm just getting over being sick, so if I sound a little funny, that's why. So I got these off of Amazon in a big bulk, and the paint colors I'm using are titanium white, crimson, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. So we're just going to need those 5 colors, and I'm going to use a 1 inch bright for the background, and then a 3/8 inch angle for filling in the majority, like the first coat of the squirrel. And then I'm going to be using a 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch Rose blender for the free texture on him. And then a small Bristle Fan for the tail, and a little round for the smaller details like the berry and his whiskers and things like that. So I'm going to start with my 1 inch bright, and I'm going to get the white, and I just want a little bit of the ultramarine blue and a little bit of the burnt umber so that it just barely tints it and makes it like a gray. I'm going to be using mainly white for the background, but I want some other colors in it so that it will, it won't be just plain flat white. If you don't put a few other colors, then the white looks very flat. And I might just kind of go ahead and get a few other colors in the white. So I hope that y'all are all having a good day, and that you will like and subscribe. I have some other painting tutorials of animals, and I'm going to have a few flowers and different things that you can, some are easy and some are hard, or not really hard, but you know, for someone more experienced. So whether you are just starting or have painted a long time, you can enjoy that. So I'm just basically doing the whole thing like this to start. So I made like a grayish color with the burnt sienna and, or the burnt umber and ultramarine blue, and then I made like a reddish brown color, very light though, with the burnt sienna and white. And you can make certain spots you know, more defined with certain colors. I've got a lot of that color in there, so I'm just gonna rinse my brush a little bit to get that out. I accidentally picked up some of the red, but it's not really showing, so I'm not going to worry about it. I've got my canvas propped up on a rag, but I did that so that it won't shine. The lights were shining, so you can see the colors and everything better. But it's kind of wanting to move around on me, so I'm trying to hold it down. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm just going to rinse my brush out and dry this with my hair dryer, and that will make it to where I can layer the next step on. So I'm gonna do that and come back. Okay, so now that this is dry, I'm going to move on to the drawing. I did it in blue last time, but I'm going to try to do it, let me see, that's not going to work. So I'm going to use some blue chalk and sketch him out. So if you mark your middle, then that's about where his nose is. So just mark off a little bit from there, and that's kind of going to be where his nose ends, right off of that. And then his tail, the ends of the hair kind of stop up there. Just, it's going to be very, you're going to be able to see in between the hairs, about right here. But right here it's going to be all thick, so I'm just marking out that very outer edge of his tail. It comes around and then back in, and then around a second time. And then this side goes around and in. And then his, let's see, his body, if you split it in half and then in half again, it's going to come a little lower than that. So about in the middle of that. So that's going to come. And his body kind of comes out and then bends down. And then there's kind of like a leg here, so it kind of just rounds off a little bit. And his body stops about there because his head's going to be in here. And all down here is snow, so I'm not going to really worry about where it ends because it's going to be covered anyway. And then there's like a area of white, kind of comes right here, and his body, let's see, his body kind of stops right in the middle, so right here, and comes in a little bit, and there's like a little foot you can see on that side. And you can see his arm come up here. His other arm comes around. It's kind of grabbing the nut, or the berry, I mean. And then his face comes, his neck kind of starts right here and then comes around. There's like a hump in and then back out where his eye is. And then it goes out just slightly and then comes back. And his little nose kind of is right at the tip, right there. And let's see, I think it comes down just a little more. So this is halfway, just below that. So where it sort of stop. So like in here. And then he's eating the berry, so it's going to be kind of under his lip a little bit. And then his mouth is right here. And there's kind of like folds where his neck is. And I'm not going to draw in the eye yet because I'm going to go on top after I do the fur. It's underneath, so. And then his ear kind of comes in right here. His other ear comes a little higher than this one and curves around. Okay, so it's kind of a funny looking thing right now, but it normally is when it's at this drawing stage. So I'm going to get my 3/8" angle brush, and well, you know what, now that I'm looking at this, its nose kind of comes out more. That's better. Okay. So you want to get the drawing as accurate as you can, because, you know, if you start painting it in and the drawing doesn't look right, then your painting will pretty much end up looking funny too, unless you change it along the way. So I'm going to start with some burnt umber and Ultramarine Blue, and it'll make a really dark color that will be good for underneath the fur so that the lighter fur will stand out. So I'm going to just do that along the back. And I'm not going to go to the edge. I'm just going to kind of go and flick out so it's not a hard edge. I'm not going to go very far though, because if I go too far, then I'll get to the point where it needs to be furry and fanned out, and this brush just wouldn't do that very well for me. So I'm going to stop it right there and then do the back with the same color. And you can do it in the direction of the fur so that if it shows, then it won't be like this is underneath is going up and down and then the rest is going sideways. You shouldn't really see a whole lot of the brush strokes, but from this underneath part, but just in case, you may want to do that. It's funny, my dog always chases squirrels. I mean, I'm pretty sure every dog does. I mean, it's kind of like in that movie, Up, they always chase the squirrels. So I'm pretty sure all dogs chase squirrels, but she like goes crazy. I mean, she doesn't bark like that at a bird, but she'll do it at a squirrel. It's kind of surprising that she hasn't done that, like, because squirrels are all over our house, so it's kind of surprising she hasn't done that during me filming at some point. I really would have thought she would have, but it's good that she hasn't. And my cat is kind of mesmerized by him too. I mean, she'll look out my window at the birds and things, and if a squirrel goes by, she looks at it too. Like, I don't know exactly what she thinks about it, but I think she wants to chase it, almost like a dog. My cat is very similar to a dog. She follows me around like one and everything. So I'm just basically filling in the majority of the fur, except for certain areas that are a different color or that I need to do something else to it, like the tail. I didn't fill that part in yet because it needs to be done with a different brush. So there's like 2 humps here, and I'm going to start filling in. I'm going to take some burnt sienna and do this side of the face with it because it's more of a reddish color. And I'm just going to fill in the ear. I'm going to get some of the white just so that I can kind of see where the ear stops and things like that. I'm going to go back with that dark gray and fill in the rest of this. And I'll kind of pull some of it and blend it so it will not look like I stopped and did something else. And the back of the head kind of is like right along here. So I'm gonna indicate that. Okay, and then we have the paws that are coming in right here. And then on the other side, there's one. You're not really seeing a whole lot of the detail on that one, but you can tell it's the hand grabbing the nut. And then there's some dark kind of in here. And then the berry is red. It's okay if it mixes with some of the other colors. And then his mouth is coming in right about here. If I can get the paint to come off. It's not wanting to, okay, there we go. So it's like his mouth is opening to eat that. And I'm gonna get this reddish brown we made for the ear and put it in. Right there. And I'm going to rinse my brush out to do the white fur under here. So you may think that it's white already, so why do we really need to do a whole lot? You don't need to do a lot to it, but I'm going to take like this grayish we have for the background and maybe get it a little darker. And it's kind of mixing with what I got, so even though I rinsed my brush out, I didn't really do it super clean, so it's got quite a bit of that other color in it. And I want it semi-dark so you can see it's different than that color we had. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slowly lighten it. Until it's white. And then in here, there's some grayish color. It's kind of coming in. And there's some gray, like what we had out here, that's coming off of the edge. And there's that little foot right in there. I'm just going to kind of flick it so that it looks like we've covered it up. Okay, so that's pretty much the first layer of the squirrel. It's very see-through and ugly right now, but it will get better. So I'm just rinsing my brush out. And I'm going to take that dark again, and you probably wouldn't have to do this if you had a thicker quality paint, but mine is a pretty thin paint, so you can see it's going straight through. So I'm just going to kind of real quick brush over that to darken it up just a little bit more. And in the tail, so that when we do our light color, there will be plenty of dark for us to work off of. Okay, so I'm going to just bring that paw up a little, maybe bring the berry out a little more. Okay, so I'm rinsing my brush out, and I'm going to, you know what, that just kind of lifted right there. You can really see it. Okay, so I'm covering this up, and now I'm going to dry it, and then we can do the furry texture on him. So I'll be back. Okay, so now that this is dry, I'm going to keep on going. I'm seeing though that the face is a little off from what I want, so I'm going to bring it out just slightly. See if I can get it looking a little better. I think I want to, okay, push it in just a little bit. And then the nose, let it come out just slightly, not that far. Okay, I think that's a little better. I think he's shaped a little better now. And I'm just going to take some white and go over that area. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 3/8 inch angle brush, or not angle, Lunar Blender I mean. I was just using the angle. And I'm not going to wet it because it's a scruffy brush, so you don't want it to be wet or it'll kind of, it won't give the furry texture that we want. So I'm going to start by getting some burnt sienna. And there's like some of this color fur in certain areas underneath. So I'm just going to kind of scrub it in, going in the direction of the fur, direction it's growing. So it's kind of here it's going down, up here it's kind of going up, right here it's kind of going down, and it's kind of funky right here. It kind of goes down this way, and it's kind of like a fold. So it goes in different directions, and if you indicate those directions, it'll make it look more realistic. I still don't want to cover up all the dark though, because it is the dark that's the more prominent color. Okay, and if you don't do this when it's dry, then it'll kind of just smudge in and lift and do all sorts of weird things, so make sure it's dry. And I rinsed my brush out because I don't want that color in it, but now I'm really pressing on my rag to get it back to scruffy again. And I'm going to get some of this gray and start putting in some here. So you can see just by kind of pulling down and flicking, it's making a hairy texture. And I'm going to get some of this dark so I can flick a little with it and kind of make that edge scruffy looking, so it doesn't look kind of weird with all this texture and then it's just like a flat body. Okay, get some more of this, and flick in. So I'm just doing a little bit. I don't want to do too much or too bright too fast, because if I do, then it'll kind of, it's like we skipped a step if you do it that quickly. So I'm just going slow with it and making sure I get the texture that I want and the depth. And around here, there's like some of the curves in his body. It kind of rolls. So I'm going to kind of like put a line of hair right in there. And then, oops, I got hair in it. And then there's kind of one right here. And one, whoops, way too bright. You don't need a whole lot of paint on this brush, so. And then there's kind of some right here. And there's like a lighter, a reddish brown. So I'm getting this color and putting that in, right in there. Okay, and then getting this gray again, and it kind of around here starts going down. And out, so you can see I'm changing the direction as I go. And around here it kind of curves because that's where the arm is, so it's going to change to a little different direction. And I'm going to kind of make the fingers, there's 4 fingers, and I'm going to kind of put some lighter color in between, like on each finger, so that you can kind of see a little more where it is. It's kind of all blending together at the moment, so I'll define it better later. Okay, and then the neck area, there's all this fur, but there's like a line of fur right along the neck, and that helps us to be able to see it better also. And then there's these small areas that are folded. You can see the black in between. And there's some right here. All in here is kind of just kind of full of hair and things. But there's certain areas that are kind of patches of dark, you can see. Okay, and I'm going to rinse that brush out. And take my round brush and this dark and just kind of put back in some dark in between here. And it's going to look really weird, but I'm doing it so I can see a little bit more that color. And then I can go back with the lighter color again, and so it will look like I just put blobs there. Okay, now I'm going to kind of let that set for a minute and get my Bristle Fan, and it is also the kind that if you wet it, you just wet it a little bit and then get as much of the moisture off. So I am going to take this dark and flick out. I'm going to water it down a little bit so it flows better. And just go in every direction that these hairs go. So these are kind of the bottom, they go out. And especially at the tip of the tail, you can see more of it fanning out. I'm going to make some more because I'm kind of running out. Okay, and then I'm going in the other directions. Okay, and you can see how it's kind of, you can tell where we stopped. We'll fix that later. And there's kind of this weird little bump here. So I'm trying to get rid of that and kind of fill in around it. Okay, that's better. It's kind of already drying what I just put down. So I'm going over and darkening some of them. Trying to kind of make that not look like it's stopped in a weird point. I'm going to fill in this rest of the tail with it too. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for that part. And underneath him is the hair is, it's like it gets a little longer than the back. So I'm going to take pure white with no other colors and put the texture on under his belly. So I'm just going to flick starting from the top, and you'll still see some of that underneath, and it goes over the dark, but I can't do that yet because I'm not finished with the dark, so we would have to do it over again anyway. And I'm going to take some of that dark and put it coming down like that, because there's some darker fur. Kind of comes out like that. Okay, so I'm rinsing my brush off, and I think now I'm going to do some on the face. Okay, so I'm going to get the round brush, do a little on his face, and I'm going to get some of that dark and put it on his head. And I'll take some of that burnt sienna, change the color slightly to a reddish, put some of that on the tip of his nose, a little in this black area, and then go over to the other side with it. And I'm just going to get straight burnt sienna and put that under his mouth. And then I'm going to get this grayish red color and lighten it up a little. And put some in there with that. Maybe some on this side too. And this is not going to be the colors that it ends up either. I'm just kind of laying them in. and then some white comes right along here. And blends in with this. But I need to be pushed back a little, so I'm just kind of going back and forth with the different colors, and if I get too far with one, I go back and push it back to where it's supposed to be, and if it's good, then I leave it. He's got this weird smile, so it comes down instead of up. So I'm fixing that. There we go. And then for the ears, they're kind of still looking see-through-y. So I'm going to get some of this light color with them too, and put it right on the back. Of the ear, so it's kind of a reddish color. And then I'm gonna get it straight where it's a bolder color. And then I'm gonna get this gray and put it right in there in that corner. And there's a little bit of this dark on this side right there, and then it's pretty light, so I'm going to get pure white and put in the really light. It's a little lighter than that, but we'll go back later when it's dry so it won't blend in. Okay, and then for this ear, I'm going to start with this dark gray color and put some in right here, and then on this side. And then I'm going to get a little white with it to lighten it just a little, and put it inside the ear, and then get some of this burnt sienna. Now I'm gonna spray my whole plate there just to keep it wet. And put this light color right in there. It kind of blends a little. And I'm going to put this really dark, almost black, this gray, and put it right in here where it's like you can kind of see inside of his ear a little bit. Actually, it's a little higher than that. And then it's really darker, but I need to do a second coat later, so. And then take this light burnt sienna mixture and kind of start here and make highlight. And then take that dark and make it a lot skinnier at the top. And then just kind of blend it as it gets further. It's more of a burnt sienna color down here. And it's lighter right there. And then there's that little crease inside the ear. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now. Rinse my brush out. I should probably do something on the berry. I think I'm just going to pick up some of that red, that crimson, and just fill it in a second time, not putting any detail. I'm just giving it a second coat so when we get to the detail it'll be ready to go. Okay, I think the tail's ready for some more. So I'm gonna get the fan brush. Actually, I should probably take this chalk off, so I'm going to get my rag and dip it in the water so it's wet, and then just kind of go around taking the chalk off of him. I'm going to take it all off though because some parts are still wet and I don't want them to get smeared all over the place. So right here got kind of off, so I'm going over with white again right there. You probably won't have to do this, but I saw I needed it. And at the end of this, you could like spray it with snow with like a toothbrush. So you could, sorry about that noise, you could take the toothbrush and load it with white at the tip and then spray it and it would splatter it with snow, and you could just take your towel and dab off any white areas you don't like. Or you could take the fan brush and thin it out and tap it and it would make snow. So I think I'm going to take the burnt sienna and burnt umber and ultramarine blue mixture and thin it out. So that I think it's good enough to run off my brush smoothly. Need a little more. Okay, and then just flick it off. A little too much. Well, it just lifted right there. So I need to be more careful. It doesn't cure until like a few, like 24 hours, it would probably be even more cured longer, but if you let it sit for 24 hours and then do this part, it shouldn't lift, but I'm not gonna wait that long. You just have to be more careful. Okay, and just gonna put some furry texture inside, middle too. So it's lifting in 2 spots, so I shouldn't have messed with it. Okay, so I'm going to take my smaller Lunar Blender now, the 1/4 inch, and I think now I'm going to put some of this light burnt sienna and put some of it along the fur in this area that has the burnt sienna color, and a little in here, just a tiny bit. And I may take some of that darker and put some if I think it's covering too much. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the white by itself and flick with it. Just make sure you can still see some of that dark underneath. It's funny that a few days ago there was a squirrel that, I don't know what his problem was. He was going crazy. He was on the tree outside my window, and he would like make this clicking noise, and he would like spin his tail around, and then he would stop and then go up the tree a little more and then do it again and make the clicking and spin his tail around, and it was so funny. I was like, why is he doing that? And then he came to the tree that's even closer to my window and did it some more. You could really hear him when he was right there. And so it was just so funny. I've never seen a squirrel flip his tail around and then stop and climb a tree and then do it some more before he climbed it again. And then there was a squirrel, it may have been the same one, that today came to my window outside, and he stood on the window ledge outside and was looking in. Mom thinks he was trying to get some of the wire that's on the window, like for a nest or something. But my cat went crazy. She was like, she wanted to chase it really bad because she was looking out the window, and then all of a sudden the squirrel popped up, and she was like, that's a first. Okay, so now I'm just flicking around this folded part where the neck starts. I'm putting some depth in there. And then here is where I put extra dark. And I'm covering to make it not look so funny. And I'm going to take some of this burnt sienna color and flick back here because it's a dark. I'm going to get some of this Ultramarine Blue and burnt umber too to flick with. And get my white. Okay, it's wet right now, so it's not gonna let me do that. But I'm gonna try it. Adding some over here. And I didn't add any of this gray earlier to this hand. Just kind of tap some in and flick down for this fur over here. Okay, it's really dark on this paw, so I'm going to put some of that back. And I'm going to work on this paw. I'm going to take my round brush and get some of that dark gray that we used at the beginning and define where his little paws or fingers are, and then go back with the little brush and kind of add more white so it doesn't look like we just put lines in it. Okay, that's better. Okay, man, the wind is like really strong now. I can hear it beating up against the door. Okay, and so I'm getting this dark color that I had on the head and tapping in that. It's got a little bit of white in it, I think, from what I had in before. Okay, and then I'm getting this burnt sienna, putting some of that, maybe a little bit up on top of the head and on the nose area. Need some. And then there's like a light, maybe grayish color. And there's just a little bit right along here. I'm going to go back with this burnt sienna and kind of go back over that right there. Okay, and just tap in a little bit on the head for texture. Okay, and then there's like this light color the burnt sienna and white. It's right in here. And I'm going to take my round brush real quick and there's like a little lip on this other side that I need to put. So I'm just getting some of the darker and the lighter and putting some of that on that side. Actually, it needs to be darker than that, so I'm going to get that dark color, and we'll go back with this later. Right in there. Get that lightened up. Okay, now I think I'm going to do the eye. So I'm getting this dark gray color that we've been using, and I'm going to mark out where I want the eye to be. So I'd say right in here is where it starts. And curves the bottom, and then curves up a little and then down, or across a little and then down, I mean. There's like some dark right there in his eye stops. And there's like some burnt sienna color that's around it. It's kind of blending it out a little. And then there's like this light burnt sienna color that's going around his eye. It's a lot lighter than that. And it's okay if you get some of the dark in it at the moment, because we'll go back and put more dark later. Okay. I'm just going to leave it like that for a minute. It still looks kind of funny, but okay. And I'm going to get the dark burnt sienna color and put it in around here, and then get that lighter and go back and put it in. And then the gray, put on there. Okay, and then grabbing my white, it's going to come in here. It's still lighter than this, but I'm going to leave that alone and go back over here and put in my last little bits of white. Not doing a whole lot though, because it's basically filled in. And the ends of the fingers kind of have snow and stuff on them, so it's kind of hard to see exactly what's going on here. It's kind of full of fur and snow. Okay, I'm going to rinse that brush off and do more on the tail. So I'm noticing that the tail's a little skinny for the way I want it. I want it a little bulkier than that because he's got to have a nice big fluffy tail. And so I'm just mixing the dark and adding water to it. And I'm going to flick out, I need more water, flick out and go out just a little further than I did. I'm just going to give him a bigger tail. And that's pretty good, I think. I'm going to get some burnt sienna and add it to it. And around here is when I'm going to start adding more details onto the middle of the tail. So I'm getting a little more burnt umber with it, the gray color. And I'm just flicking. I'm using kind of the side though. And then when I get to the top, I flick like I have been. In the middle, you can kind of go up and down. And then I'm going to get some burnt sienna with it. changing the color. I'm just lifting it so I can see it better. Okay. Because I added that extra, it's got a line, so I'm gonna have to wait for it to dry to get that away. Okay, and now I'm gonna get, oops, I just picked up the same brush I just put down. I'm gonna get the round brush now and mark this eye a little more and get that light color and go around it. And I'm gonna make like a darker, I got a darker burnt sienna. Gonna just fill it in more, make it not look like it's floating, or not floating, but like just on top. I want it to actually look like it's on the squirrel, so I'm getting that color and adding it to that outside and kind of halving it, and then getting the dark and making a line right in between them. And it's going to be really thick because of this brush I'm using is not very thin. And I'm going to go back with the lighter and make it thin, like just like that. Now it's thinner. Let me try zooming in more so you can see it. Let me scoot this back. Okay, that's a little better. You won't be able to see my palette now, but you can see this better. So I'm getting the burnt sienna and white. I'm adding it to there. And then I'm getting like a burnt sienna, burnt umber. Make sure it's pretty dark and kind of blending it out a little bit. And then I'll kind of take this color and slowly get it to kind of blend out. And there's a little bit of this color kind of in this eye spot right there. Since the ears are dry, I'm going to take the chalk off of them. I'm probably going to have to take more chalk off after the video, because even though it's majority's gone, it's not really all gone. Okay, and then I'm going to get my crimson and some white to make like a pink color, and maybe a little bit of the burnt sienna so it's not a super pink color. And put in the nose so it's like right in there. right there. But it's got some dark, so I'm getting that burnt umber and burnt sienna mixture and putting some little speckles on it. It's kind of speckly. And then for the berry, I'm going to, actually let me take that dark color again and put the eye in on the other side. So you can kind of see it. It's, let's see, I'm going to just kind of fill this eye in more to smooth it out. So it's kind of right across from this eye and a little higher. So, and then I'm going to rinse my brush out to where there's no color in it, and then pick up the extra because it went too far out. So if I have a clean brush, I can just kind of scoop it off like that. So you can see the indication of it, but you can't really see it very well. Okay, and now I think I'm going to, what was I going to do? Oh, the berry. I'm going to get my crimson and put that in. And then I'm going to take the crimson and burnt umber. It's mainly crimson, but the burnt umber will kind of dull it. And I'm going to put that right on this top, underneath where the lip is, and then kind of around it. And really, that lip needs to come over it more, so I'm going to get my 1/4 Lunar Blender and get the white and kind of come over it more. It's going to do that whole area lighter. Maybe get some of that burnt sienna with it. Okay, and then getting this small round and getting some of that burnt sienna for the other side. Okay, and then the dark color. Okay, and then more on the berry, I'm going to get that dark ultramarine blue and burnt umber, put a dark shadow under it and blend it out. And then I'm going to get the crimson straight for right in here where it's the brightest. And there's like a really dark hole right in here. Put that in. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of white to the crimson. Just a little bit though. Kind of put that in. And then blend it out with straight crimson so it's not, doesn't look like a pink berry. But we want that highlight there. It kind of comes around the berry some too. Okay, so the berry's pretty much done. And then I'm going to get some, let's see, take that brush out. I don't want red in my squirrel. Get some straight white and just kind of flick some little hairs into my white, or my base in here. And then there's going to be some lighter here. Like that. And then some white, just a little right there against the eye. And let's see, there's the dark in the ear that we didn't really get that good yet. And then the burnt sienna and white was the color that we had next to it. And it kind of is mixing in a little bit. And then the burnt sienna with burnt umber right in there. And I'm going to take some of the light color, just kind of put a little bit of it coming out onto the neck, so it's not like a big jump in color. Okay, and then I'm going to do some more dark coming off the eye, right in there. I'm just going to fill that in and then do the highlights. So I'm going to take just a little white with that color, make gray, put a little bit of it right there. It needs to be a little brighter. You can see it better. And get that dark so it's not too light. And then I'm going to make it even brighter so you can see it better. Okay, so there's like 3 right there, and then like a white one right in there. Okay, and then let me think. I need to do the tail and then the flicking right here. And the whiskers. So I'm going to take the hand brush and get, let's see, I'm going to zoom back out. Whoops, get my rag in there. Okay, so I'm getting the burnt sienna and burnt umber mixture and watering it down. And I'll add just a little bit of white to it so you can see it better. And put some of it in all directions. of the burnt sienna. Just trying to get it the correct color and shape and make it look fluffy. When it's facing us and then also going sideways, it's kind of going in all sorts of weird directions, so okay, and get some more of the burnt sienna, kind of flick off in any way. Just looking at that to make sure that I like it. Okay, I think it's pretty. Oof. Now, how did that happen? I've been known to spray the water, but that was kind of ridiculous. Okay. I need to rinse this, and then we'll do the fur, the white fur. And it's going to be flicking over this black this time. So we're going to have to really make sure that it's flowing so we get that hairy, furry look to it. It's coming too far, kind of blobbed. Okay, and this comes out. Okay. And then the whiskers. And I also need to put a little more in this little foot here. Actually, I should do the snow in front so that after the whiskers, if I need to do more snow to cover, that'll be pretty much dry. So I'm getting the 3/8 inch Lunar Blender and getting the white. And I'm going to go and kind of make texture right under him. And the snow is pretty scruffy and unusual, so just kind of make hills and bumps and different shapes in the snow. And then it kind of breaks up into different areas. So there's like some down here and you can do some like back behind, so just kind of scrub in just a little indication of snow in the back. You don't have to worry about your brush getting ruined because this kind of brush is made for it, so just scrub away. There is a little bit of this back here, but it's just more faint. I'm doing pretty thick paint up here. I'm not even really looking at the picture for this part, I'm just kind of scribbling it in. Make sure I get it even to the bottom, and just put a little bit more. You can do it thicker over this part just so that you make sure you get it over him good, or her. It could be a her if you wanted it to be. Okay, then rinse that brush out and do his little whiskers. And after that, we should be pretty much done. Okay, so I'm gonna get the dark color. I should probably zoom in for this part too. Just scoot everything over. Okay. And I'm going to try to make it as thin as I can. So I'm going to pull it like that. And then what we're going to do is put white around it. Or actually I could just rinse my brush out and go up to it and take out the extra. It's around too much water right there. Try it again. The whiskers are probably the hardest part. It's a fly that's like really bugging me right now. So just make them really thin, and you can also just do them all pretty much at once, and then do white around and fix any mistakes that we make. Okay, so you put some in and then take the white and go against and kind of blend it out and drag it. No, that one got kind of completely covered, so I'm going to put that back and then rinse the brush, go back with my white. And you may have to do it and then blow dry it and come back and, you know, put more white. So I'm going to flip it. I'm going to flip my picture so that it'll match up and hit the, you're going to put some like dots right there and then kind of tap them out and then take them and pull out this way And you're going to go up if it's upside down. You're going to go down if it's right side up. And I'm going to have to do more of a lift technique here. And there will be a few that kind of come up, but mainly they'll go down. See, now that one was really thick, so I'm gonna fix it. And now let me see. I might do a few more going in different directions. And a couple more this way. And then take that white and go along here. Take that out. Okay. So I'd say he's pretty good. I'm just going to take some white and kind of go over there. And right here there's like a blue dot. I must have gotten some blue on it right there. Okay, trying to feel where to sign it. I may have to wait. But this is my Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen that I like to sign with. And I'm gonna go fingers width the way up so that it won't get covered. Yeah, it's not gonna work. It's too wet, so I'll just wait for that. But you sign it and you're done. Actually, I think I'm being picky now, but I'm gonna put a little bit of white right under here. There's like some white where it's kind of merging. Right there. Okay, that's better. Okay, and actually, I forgot to do another thing. I'm glad I didn't stop the video. Get your ground. You don't have to do this, but take the white and just kind of dab some little snowflakes on his fur, and that kind of got stuck there. And around his paws. There's a lot. There's some like on the berry. All in his fur right here, where he's been picking stuff up. And a few in here. And back here, where his fur is thicker. And you can do like a few in his tail. Just kind of so that it doesn't look so Nope, I've been zoomed out this whole time. Sorry about that. Or zoomed in, I'm sorry. I can't get my words straight today. Okay, I think that's pretty good, and you could splatter, like I said earlier, with white and make it look like snow if you wanted to, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so this is the schedule I have, and we would normally be doing this one, but we did it already because I flipped around from being sick. I didn't want to do the longer one while I was sick. So it's going to be the cabin, and if you want to see it bigger, that's what we're going to be painting. So that one should be really fun. So I hope you like and subscribe and join me for other painting tutorials that are either on there already or that will do in the future. So thanks for watching. Bye.